Hello, dear Junior 6 students. Welcome back to a new video about Oliver Twist. Last time we started Oliver Twist, our new reader for this term, and we discussed chapter 1. Now, let me remind you of what happened in chapter 1 if you don't remember. Oliver is born in a workhouse, and we said that a workhouse is a place for people who didn't have any place to live and who didn't have money. Oliver is punished because he has asked for more food, and the workhouse offers £5 to whoever takes Oliver Twist. Mr. Sourberry, who works as a coffin maker, agrees to take Oliver Twist in his house. Okay, what I want you to do is you are going to pause this video, go to your reader, read chapter 2 of Oliver Twist, and on the CD, you can play the track reading this chapter, which is this one, chapter 2. Okay, now that I suppose that you have done what I asked you to do, we are going to discuss the summary of or the events of chapter 2. Okay, in chapter 2, Mr. Bumble takes Oliver to Mr. Sourberry's house. Mrs. Sourberry doesn't like Oliver and doesn't like that he is small and weak. So from the first minute Oliver steps into Mr. Sourberry's house, he is met with the cruelty of Mrs. Sourberry. She objects to the fact that he is quite small. He won't be able to work efficiently. He will need lots of food. She thinks of these things. So she doesn't like that Oliver is a small kid. Mr. Bumble tells her that Oliver will grow, but she replies saying that he will grow on their food and drink. She gives Oliver some cold meat she has for the dog. So, when Oliver is given meat for the first time in his life, it is the cold meat saved for the dog. So, it's not really humane to treat children like that. It is very cruel. Oliver is given a bed in the shop among the coffins, and the next morning he meets Noah Claypole. He is a boy working for Mr. Sourberry. He treats Oliver rudely. So, Oliver's bed is in the cold shop. Imagine a child sleeping in a cold shop among coffins. So, it is so cruel. He meets Noah Claypole. Noah's mother washes clothes for a living. His father is a soldier who is always drunk, as you have read in chapter 2, and other boys treat Noah rudely. So, with Oliver's presence, Noah likes the idea that he can now be rude to Oliver. Okay, this brings us to the end of chapter 2, the events of chapter 2. Now, let's take a look at the quotations or the main quotations in this chapter. Basically, we have only one quotation to focus on. Okay, now let's take a look at the one quotation we need to focus on in chapter 2. The quotation says, "You don't know who I am, workhouse? You will find it on page 6. Who says this? Exactly, it's Noah Claypole. He calls Oliver workhouse. He is abusing him. He is bullying him because Oliver was raised in a workhouse. So this quote is said by Noah Claypole to Oliver Twist at Mr. Sourberry's house. This is the first time Oliver sees Noah Claypole, Mr. Sourberry's apprentice. An apprentice means his assistant, the boy who works for him. Other boys are rude to Noah, so he is now rude to Oliver. Okay, this brings us to the end of chapter 2 and the end of today's video. It is quite short because chapter 2 is a bit short. Next time, inshallah, we are going to continue Oliver Twist with chapter 3. Until then, stay safe. Thank you so much for watching.